Welcome back to another video. So today's video is my very first iceberg video. I'm going to be doing unsolved disappearances. I just hit 500 subscribers today, which is way past what I thought I was going to be at for January, so that's just insane. Please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. My goal is 600 by the end of February, so thank you again for being here. Let's get into it. So for the top of the iceberg, we have more well-known disappearances. So this is where you're going to find Madeleine McCann, who disappeared in 2007. We're going to get into that in a minute. Maura Murray and Jimmy Hoffa. These are all names you've probably heard, and if you haven't, you're about to. So Madeleine McCann, she in 2007 was a 3-year-old girl that vanished from her family's vacation apartment in Portugal while her parents were dining downstairs. Despite a enormous international investigation, this was actually one of the first cases I had ever heard of growing up, no body has ever been found. Multiple suspects have come and gone, and while a prime suspect exists today, the case remains officially unsolved. A lot of people think that it was her parents, actually, but, you know, that's something I'm gonna have to get into in a different video because that is a big case. Maura had crashed her car in New Hampshire after behaving strangely for several days. When police arrived, minutes later, she was gone. No confirmed sightings, no remains, and countless theories. From voluntary disappearance to foul play in the woods, as if, you know, she would have ran away and nobody would have found her at that time, or she was murdered in the woods. Some suspect that maybe she had started a new life, but most believe that she was murdered after the crash. Next, and the last on this list, is Jimmy Hoffa. He was a famous labor union leader, and he vanished in 1975 after going to meet associates in Detroit. Despite decades of FBI investigations and endless burial theories, Hoffa's remains have never been found. His disappearance is one of the most famous in American history. Level 2, or we're getting into the middle of the iceberg here, these are going to be cases that are less known, but extremely strange. First, we have Asha Degree. In 2000, 9-year-old Asha left her home in the middle of a storm carrying a backpack. Multiple witnesses reported seeing her walking alone on the highway. Her belongings were later found buried miles away, but Asha herself has never been found. No remains, no nothing, just her belongings, which is really scary. Next, we have Brian Schaefer. He had vanished in 2006 after a night out at a bar in Ohio. Security footage shows him entering the bar, but never leaving. There were no signs of foul play inside, and he had no known reason to be disappearing, leaving the case baffling. So he went in and never went out, which is crazy. He just vanished into thin air. Next, we have Kyron Horman. Kyron disappeared in 2010. After attending a science fair at his elementary school, he was marked present and then never seen again. The case has focused heavily on his stepmother, but no charges have been filed and Kyron has never been found. Level 3 on the iceberg. Cases that begin to turn more sinister and scary. Okay. First, we have Bryce Laspisa. In 2013, Bryce spent hours acting strangely, sitting in his car and ignoring pleas to come home. His car was later found wrecked at the bottom of a ravine, with Bryce missing. No remains, no nothing. Despite extensive searches, no trace of him has ever been discovered. Next, we have Sneha Phillip. Sneha disappeared on September 10th, 2001. Her last confirmed sighting was shopping near the World Trade Center. There's debate over whether she died in the attacks or vanished beforehand, leaving the case unsolved. Level 4, and the bottom of the iceberg. These are lesser known and disturbing, off-putting cases. First, we have Frederick Valentich. In 1978, pilot Frederick Valentich reported a strange aircraft hovering above him during a radio transmission. Moments later, his plane had vanished over the ocean. No wreckage was ever conclusively identified. So he was probably murdered by the government of some sort, or they covered it up. That's actually really, really scary. A strange aircraft. If it wasn't a alien, it was probably a SR-71 or maybe a B-2. What, this was 1978? If you saw B-2 in the sky in 1978, you'd shit your pants, okay? Next, we have Patricia Meehan. In 1989, Patricia crashed her car and ran into nearby fields, acting disoriented. She vanished for years, with confirmed sightings suggesting amnesia. Despite resurfacing briefly, she disappeared again and was never found, and she's never resurfaced again. So, no one knows if she's dead or living a new life. Last of the video, we have Ben McDaniel. Ben disappeared in 2010 while cave diving in Florida. Florida mention. I live in Florida, if you're not aware. His gear was never found, and the cave was searched multiple times. Some believe he died deep inside. Others think that he staged his disappearance. Realistically, he probably died deep inside because caving in Florida is really, really dangerous. Well, if you're still here, you should probably just subscribe. And thank you for being here, as always. And I will see you next time. Watch my last video and tune in for my next. And I'll see you guys soon, okay? I'll see you guys very, very soon.